A few months back, I found myself at a dinner gathering seated next to a woman named Sandra. She's 44, recently landed a senior management role, and for the first time in her career, she's earning substantial money, around $160,000 annually. We got talking about money, and she said something I've heard more times than I can count. I feel like the train already left the station. I should have been investing since my 20s. I've basically blown my chance at real wealth. I could see it written all over her face, this deep acceptance, like her financial destiny was sealed by choices she didn't make 2 decades ago. And here's what frustrates me endlessly. Sandra isn't unusual. I encounter people like her constantly. People in their late 30s, 40s, sometimes early 50s, who have completely internalized this notion that their prime financial window has closed, that compound interest only performs miracles for people who begin at 22, that they're fundamentally behind schedule. I need to share something that might catch you off guard. Sandra's mistaken, and so is virtually everyone who believes this. The conventional wisdom about early investing, it's incomplete at best, potentially damaging at worst. Because what nobody emphasizes, what the entire financial education world has failed to communicate, is that your contribution intensity matters just as much as your timeline, sometimes more. And for most people, contribution intensity doesn't peak until their 40s. Hey, I'm Johnny, and I've spent the past several weeks analyzing income patterns, investment projections, and honestly getting increasingly annoyed with how mainstream financial advice discusses compound interest and early starts. If you've ever felt like you squandered your 20s, if you think you're lagging where you should be, if you've avoided retirement calculators because you're terrified of the results, subscribe and hit that like button, because what I'm about to reveal isn't motivational fluff or wishful thinking. This is straightforward mathematics proving something the personal finance industry doesn't want to acknowledge. Late starters with high contribution intensity can absolutely outpace early starters with low contribution intensity. Once you understand why, you might actually feel energized to take action instead of paralyzed by regret. Let's address the obvious first. You've encountered those charts. You know exactly which ones I mean. Person A begins investing at 25, person B begins at 35. Even though person B invests more total dollars, person A ends up wealthier because of compound interest. These charts appear everywhere. Every financial advisor displays them. Every Start Young article references them. Here's my issue with those charts. They're deceiving you. Not with the mathematics. The calculations are technically correct. They're deceiving you with the assumptions. Because every single chart assumes both people invest identical monthly amounts. Person A invests $500 monthly starting at 25, person B invests $500 monthly starting at 35. Then they triumphantly declare person A wins. Well, obviously. But here's what those charts never consider. Who in their 20s can actually invest $500 monthly? Let me share some reality from labor statistics. Median income for Americans aged 20 to 24 hovers around $37,000 annually. After taxes, that's roughly $2,900 monthly. Now let's examine what that 23-year-old's actual budget looks like. Rent in most cities consumes $1,200 to $1,500. Student loans, since about 70% of graduates carry them, take another $300 to $400. Health insurance, transportation, phone, utilities, food. By the time you cover the basics of simply existing as a young adult in modern America, there's precious little remaining. Research shows the average American in their 20s saves approximately 8% of income. On $37,000, that's roughly $245 monthly. Not $500, $245. And that's the average. Median is probably lower. Plenty of 20-somethings save nothing because they're climbing out of debt or just establishing themselves. Now examine someone in their 40s. Labor data shows median income for Americans aged 45 to 54 sits around $67,000, nearly double the 20s income. But here's what most people miss, and this is crucial. Your expenses don't scale proportionally with income. A 45-year-old doesn't pay double rent compared to a 25-year-old. Their car payment isn't twice as high. Their phone bill is identical. And critically, many expenses that crushed their budget in their 20s, student loans, setting up a household, establishing credit, are gone or dramatically reduced. So while a 25-year-old earning $37,000 might manage $245 monthly for investing, a 45-year-old earning $67,000 might comfortably save $1,200 to $1,500. That's not a minor difference. That's a 5 or 6-fold increase in contribution intensity. This is where things get genuinely interesting. When we plug realistic numbers into compound interest calculators, the results tell a completely different story than those misleading charts. Let's create 2 characters. Meet early Emma. She starts investing at 25. Emma follows conventional wisdom perfectly, investing early, staying consistent, leveraging compound interest. But Emma is also a realistic 25-year-old, so she can only invest $200 monthly. That's what she can genuinely afford while covering rent, student loans, and building her life. Then there's later Linda. Linda didn't invest in her 20s. She was eliminating debt, advancing her career, maybe raising children, handling life's curveballs. She starts at 40, 15 years after Emma. But Linda is now a senior professional earning well with stabilized expenses. She can invest $1,500 monthly. According to conventional wisdom, Emma should dominate. She's got 15 extra years of compounding magic. But let's examine actual mathematics. Emma invests $200 monthly from 25 to 65. That's 40 years. Assuming 7% annual returns, a reasonable historical average, Emma accumulates approximately $525,000. Genuinely impressive. She contributed $96,000 of her own money over 4 decades, and compound interest grew it to over $500,000. This is the magic everyone celebrates. Now let's examine Linda. Linda invests $1,500 monthly from 40 to 65. That's 25 years, 15 fewer than Emma. But at the same 7% return, Linda accumulates approximately $1,140,000. Over $1 million, more than double Emma's total. Linda contributed $450,000 of her own money, and compound interest added another $690,000. Here's what should make you pause. Linda started 15 years later, invested for significantly less time, but ended up with more than twice as much wealth. Why? Contribution intensity. The raw power of how much you're depositing each month matters enormously, sometimes more than time itself. You might be thinking, that's not a fair comparison. I gave Linda a much higher contribution amount. Exactly. That's precisely my point. We need to compare realistic scenarios, not hypothetical ones where 20-somethings somehow invest identical amounts as 40-somethings. The median 25-year-old cannot invest $1,500. It's not a discipline issue, it's a math problem. They don't earn enough. But the median 45-year-old, if they're intentional about it, often can. The early start advice isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. A more accurate version would be, invest whatever you can as early as you can, but understand that your peak wealth-building years are likely ahead of you, not behind you. Here's what genuinely troubles me about how we discuss early investing. By relentlessly hammering that starting in your 20s is essential, we've created a generation of people in their 30s and 40s who feel like failures before they even begin. That psychological damage has real financial consequences. When you believe you've already lost the game, you don't play. When you think it's too late, you don't start. When you feel so far behind that catching up seems impossible, you surrender before trying. I can't count how many people I've spoken with who aren't investing anything currently, not because they can't afford to, but because they've convinced themselves there's no point. They think, I'm 38 and haven't started. What difference will $500 monthly make now? The answer? A massive difference. $500 monthly from 38 to 65 at 7% returns grows to over $450,000. Is that as good as starting at 25? Perhaps, but $450,000 is infinitely better than zero, which is what they get if they never start because they believe it's pointless. There's a psychological concept called learned helplessness. It's when you've been conditioned to believe your actions don't matter, so you stop taking action entirely.
I believe the relentless, should-have-started-earlier messaging has created financial learned helplessness in millions of people. They feel powerless to change their financial future because they believe the window has closed. But here's truth. The window doesn't close until you're gone. Every single day you're alive and earning income, you have opportunity to build wealth, period. Yes, starting earlier is better, all else being equal, but all else is never equal. Your earning power changes, your expenses change, your priorities change. And for most people, their 40s represent the sweet spot where high income meets stabilized expenses meets accumulated wisdom. It's arguably the best decade to build wealth, not the worst.
Let me walk through what the typical American financial life cycle actually looks like, because this context is crucial. In your 20s, you're generally in accumulation mode, but not wealth accumulation. You're accumulating skills, experience, credentials, and unfortunately, often debt. You're earning entry-level wages, you're paying massive life taxes, setting up your first apartment, buying furniture, establishing credit, maybe financing a car to get to work. You're dating, exploring, figuring out who you are. The notion that this is prime wealth-building time is, for most people, fantasy. You're just trying to find your footing. In your 30s, things shift. Income rises as you move into mid-career, but new expenses emerge. Maybe a house, maybe children, maybe helping aging parents. You're often in peak spending mode. Lifestyle expands to match income or exceed it. For many, their 30s are actually their lowest savings decade despite earning more than their 20s. Federal Reserve data shows the median retirement balance for ages 35 to 44 sits around only $60,000. Not much compounding time accumulated yet. But then, you hit your 40s and something interesting happens. Your income approaches its peak. Median income for 45 to 54-year-olds is the highest of any age group. But your major life expenses are stabilizing or declining. Kids might be older and less expensive. The house might be bought and partially paid off. Student loans are ancient history. The setting up your life costs are behind you. Suddenly there's margin, real margin. The gap between what you earn and what you need to spend gets wide, often for the first time in your adult life. This is where contribution intensity becomes possible in ways it simply wasn't before. Here's a statistic that surprised me. Retirement account analysis shows average 401k balances grow faster between ages 40 and 55 than any other period. Not because of returns are returns, but because of contributions. People in their 40s and early 50s can finally contribute at high levels. That intensity shows up dramatically in account balances. The 40s aren't too late. For most people, the 40s are when real wealth building finally becomes possible. Here's something else conventional wisdom ignores. The tax code actually provides significant advantages to later starters. Starting at age 50, you can make catch-up contributions to retirement accounts. For 401k plans, the standard contribution limit is $23,000, but if you're 50 or older, you can add an additional $7,500, bringing your total to $30,500 annually. For IRAs, the standard limit is $7,000, but over 50, you can add $1,000 more for $8,000 total. The government literally built extra contribution capacity into the system for people in their 50s. Why would they do that if it was truly too late to build meaningful wealth? They did it because they understand the math. They know that high contribution intensity in later working years can build substantial retirement funds even with less compounding time. Let me run another scenario. Say you're 50 years old, basically nothing saved, you're panicking, but you're also at peak earning years and finally able to contribute aggressively. You max out your 401k at $30,500 yearly, the catch-up limit, and your IRA at $8,000 yearly. That's $38,500 annually total, roughly $3,200 monthly. Do this from 50 to 67, 17 years at 7% returns. You end up with approximately $1,180,000. From nothing at 50 to over $1 million by retirement. Is it as good as starting at 25? No, but is it transformative, life-changing wealth providing comfortable retirement? Absolutely. Achieved with just 17 years of high-intensity contributions. So if you're in your 40s watching this feeling behind, here's what I want you to absorb. First, stop punishing yourself for not starting earlier. That energy is completely wasted. You cannot travel backward through time.
What you can do is recognize that right now, today, might be the most powerful wealth-building moment of your entire life. Your income is probably higher than ever. Your major expenses are probably more stable than ever. Your ability to contribute meaningfully is probably greater than any previous point. Don't squander this moment drowning in guilt about the past. Second, get aggressive about contribution intensity. This is your superpower right now. If you can invest $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 or more monthly, do it. Max your 401k, max your IRA, open a taxable brokerage and contribute there too. Every dollar you invest during this high-intensity period still gets years of compounding. Maybe not 40 years, but 15 or 20 years of compounding on a substantial base is extremely powerful. Third, optimize your expense structure to enable higher contributions. This is where being in your 40s actually helps. You have experience. You know what you genuinely need versus what you merely want. You've probably already made the expensive mistakes of your 20s and 30s. Use that wisdom to eliminate waste and redirect money into investments. The goal is maximizing the gap between income and expenses so more money flows towards your future. Fourth, stay invested in growth assets. One mistake later starters sometimes make is getting too conservative too early. If you're 45 with 20+ years until retirement, you still have plenty of time to weather market volatility. Don't retreat to bonds and cash prematurely. You need the growth that equity investments provide to maximize compounding on your high contributions. Finally, remember the game isn't over until it's over. Even if you're reading this at 50 or 55, you still have time. Maybe not as much as you'd prefer, but time nonetheless. Every year you work is a year you can contribute. Every year you contribute is a year your investments can grow. Starting at 55 isn't optimal, but it's infinitely better than never starting at all. Look, I'm not claiming starting late beats starting early. If you're in your 20s watching this, absolutely begin now with whatever you can. Even $100 monthly matters. Build the habit. Get time working for you. But if you're in your 40s or beyond, hear me clearly. You have not missed your window. Your most powerful wealth-building years might be right now. The combination of peak earnings, stabilized expenses, and focused urgency that comes from seeing retirement on the horizon makes your 40s an incredibly potent time to build wealth. The contribution intensity you're capable of now can absolutely compensate for time you didn't have earlier. So stop using "I should have started earlier" as justification for not starting now. Stop letting those misleading charts make you feel like a failure. Stop believing the wealth-building game was already decided. It wasn't. You're in it right now. And if you play it correctly, if you maximize contribution intensity and commit to aggressive saving for the next 15 or 20 years, you can absolutely build the financial security you thought you'd lost. It's not too late. It's just time to get serious. If this shifted how you think about starting later, subscribe and share with someone in their 40s who needs to hear that their best financial years might be ahead. See you next time.